Hello. Welcome to this anatomy and physiology topic. We'll be discussing the classification of epithelial tissues. But now, before we start, I would like you to know that a tissue is a collection of large number of same type of cells with a specific function. So a tissue is a collection of large number of the same type of cells with a specific function. Now, tissues are classified according to size, shape, and function. The tissues are classified according to size, shape, and function of their constituent cells. Now, before we go into these epithelial cells, I would like you to know that there are basically four major types of tissues. The first one that we have is the epithelial tissue, then the muscle tissue, the connective tissue, and the nervous tissue. So there are basically four types of tissues. Now, let's jump right into our topic today, which is the classification of the epithelium. But now, before we start with that, I'd like you to know that the epithelial tissue, this is a type of tissue that covers the body surfaces and organs, and it also makes lining for body cavities. Okay, the epithelial tissue is a type of tissue that covers the body surfaces and organs, and they also make the lining of body cavities. Okay, now let's jump right into our topic today, which is the classification of the epithelium. Okay, now the epithelium is classified. Okay, the epithelium is classified according to the number of layers of cells and according to the shape of cells. It is classified according to the number of layers of cells and according to the shape of cells. Now, under the number of cells, we have the simple. Simple simply means it contains one layer of cells. Okay, simple simply means it contains one layer of cells, of which each extends from the basement membrane to the free surface. And then we have stratified. Stratified, this is a type, or this is where there are more layers of cells, more than one layer of cells. Okay, and then we have the pseudo-stratified epithelium. The pseudo-stratified epithelium, this one, it appears to be stratified, however it contains a single layer of cells. It appears to be stratified, however it appears to be stratified, and usually it is pseudo-stratified columnar. You get to know the columnar where it is coming from. By columnar, we are saying it is taller than wide. Okay, it is taller than wide, and it appears to be stratified, however it only has one layer of columnar cells. Okay, now under the shape of cells, we have what we call as the squamous epithelium, or the squamous cells. And this squamous simply means the cells, they appear to be flat. It means the cells, they appearing to be flat, and they look more like scales. Okay, if you've seen the fish, those scales of the fish, they are flat. That's how it appears to be. It is flat. And then cuboidal. Cuboidal simply means it is cubed shaped, meaning it is about equal in height and width. And then the columnar, meaning it is triangular shaped or it is taller than wide. Okay, now let's look at those diagrams. Let's identify them according to the classification of the epithelium. So by layers, the top part, the first one that we have there is the simple. As you can see, it appears to have only one layer. And the next one there is the pseudo-stratified. It only has one layer, however it is appearing as if it is stratified. But if you look closely at it, it is only the pseudo-stratified columnar, meaning it only has one layer, and then it is taller than wide. Okay, and then the last one there is what we're calling as the stratified. The stratified only contains more than one layer of cells. And then the second classification is by shape. As you can see, this one looks flat. The first one meaning it is squamous. The other one, it is cuboidal, meaning it is cubed shaped, okay, equal in height and width. And the last one, it is the columnar. The columnar, it means it is taller than wide or rectangular in shape. Okay, now let's look at these in details. Okay, so simple epithelium. A simple epithelium is a single layer of identical cells. Now, this simple epithelium is divided into three. It is divided into three, and those three are the ones that we've already mentioned, which is the cuboidal, the columnar, and the squamous. Okay, the cuboidal, the columnar, and the squamous. So, the more active the tissue, the taller it is. The more active the tissue, the taller it is. Okay, now let's look at the simple squamous epithelium. By simple, remember we're saying it contains one layer, and squamous we're saying it is flat. So we're talking about an epithelium which is flat and contains one layer. Okay, so it is a single layer of flats, like I said, and the other name for this simple squamous epithelium is called pavement epithelium. It is called pavement epithelium. Now, this type of epithelium, the cells, they fit together like flat stones, making a smooth membrane across which diffusion occurs. They fit together like flat stones, making a smooth membrane across which diffusion occurs. Let's look at the next type of the epithelium, which is the cuboidal. Now, before we look at the cuboidal, the simple squamous epithelium lines the heart, okay? It lines the heart, it also lines the blood vessels and the lymph vessels, the alveoli of the lungs, and also the collecting ducts of the nephron, okay? Now, let's look at the simple cuboidal epithelium. By simple, already know that it only contains one layer. Cuboidal, we know that it is cubed shaped. So we are talking about an epithelium which contains one layer of cells and they are cubed shaped. Okay. They are cubed shaped. Okay. Now, this kind of epithelium is found on kidney tubules and the thyroid gland. The functions of this simple cuboidal epithelium, its function is for secretion, absorption, or excretion. Okay. Okay. Now let's look at the other type of epithelium. Simple columnar epithelium, meaning it contains one layer of cells and it is triangular shaped, or it is taller than wide. Okay. Now, this type of epithelium, it is found lying in the stomach. It is found lying in the stomach. It is also found in the small intestines with the macrovilli. It is also found in the respiratory tract, specifically the trachea, with the cilium. Okay. Now, the functions of this simple columnar epithelium is for absorption of nutrients, secretion of mucus, and it also acts as a protective barrier, specifically from acids. So we talked of it lying in the stomach. So it acts as a protective barrier in the stomach. Okay. Now let's look at the stratified epithelium. The stratified epithelium. Now, stratified epithelium has several layers, okay? It contains several layers of cells of various shapes. And there is continuous cell division of the basal layer which pushes the layers above nearer to the surface where they are shed. there is continuous cell division of the basal layer, which pushes the layers above nearer to the surface where they are shed. Okay, now the function of this stratified epithelium is that it protects the structures below from tear and from wear. An example of that is the skin. Now, there are two main types of this stratified epithelium. There are two main types of this stratified epithelium. There is the stratified squamous epithelium and there is the transitional epithelium. Let's look at the stratified squamous epithelium. Stratified squamous epithelium. Now, this stratified squamous epithelium has two types. This stratified squamous epithelium has two types. There is a keratinized stratified squamous epithelium and the non-keratinized squamous epithelium. Let's start by looking at the keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Okay? Now, the keratinized stratified squamous epithelium is found on dry surfaces, which are subjected to tear and wear. An example of such is the skin, the nails, and the hair. Now, the cells on the surfaces of this keratinized stratified squamous epithelium are dead and they do not have a nucleus. This stratified squamous, the keratinized stratified squamous epithelium contains the protein keratin, hence the name keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, meaning we're talking of an epithelium that contains the protein keratin and it has many layers and it is flat. Okay. Now let's look at the second type, which is the non-keratinized stratified epithelium. The non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Now, this one, it doesn't contain the protein keratin and it is found on moisty surfaces which are subjected to tear and wear. Okay? For example, the conjunctiva of the eyes. The conjunctiva of the eyes. It is also found lining the mouth and the esophagus. And you can also find it in the vagina, on the vagina. Okay? Now, the function of this non-keratinized stratified epithelium is to protect the surfaces from tear and wear. Okay. And then the last type of this stratified epithelium is the transitional epithelium. The transitional epithelium. This transitional epithelium has several layers of cells which are pear-shaped, and it lines the urinary tract, including the urinary bladder, and it also allows the bladder to stretch as it fills up. Okay, so now a quick recap of this. This classification. Remember, the classification of epithelium is into two, which is the number of layers of cells and the shape of cells. Under the number of layers of cells, we said this epithelium can be classified as simple. Okay, it can be classified as simple, meaning it contains one layer, stratified, meaning it contains more than one layer, and pseudostratified. And then we went on to talk about the shape of the cells, of which we said the cells can either be squamous, meaning they are flat, and they can be cuboidal, meaning they are cubed shaped, or they are equal in height and width. And also the last one, which is columnar, they are rectangular or they are taller than wide. And then we classify them to say we have simple squamous epithelium, simple cuboidal epithelium, simple columnar epithelium, and then we went on to the stratified epithelium. The stratified, we said there are two types. There's keratinized stratified squamous epithelium and there's non-keratinized stratified epithelium. The keratinized contains the protein keratin, and as it is found on dry surfaces, and the non-keratinized is found on moisty surfaces. And the last type of the stratified epithelium we talked about is the transition. Okay, now we've come to the end of this topic, which is the classification of the epithelium. Make sure that you subscribe to see more videos when I post. Okay.